You're listening to the Cultural Vibe and back 89 FM. I'm in the studio. We have Lulu Falls, and that last song was actually on the Foreign Exchange featuring Musina, and actually Lulu told me that she actually knows Lulu. I mean that she actually knows Musina.
Yes, we went to the same high school in DC, Duke Ellington School of the Arts, and she's, I think like 3 years older than me or 4, and she was kind of like a mentor to me. She studied piano, so I didn't even know that she could sing until maybe a few years after when I got here. I met her back in DC, and I saw her performing, and I was like, this is the same Musina? So yeah. She's just always been there. She's kind of been a protector of mine, and I just used to always pick her brain. So it's just great to see and hear that she's doing so well.
Musina, that's spelled Muhsinah. Google her. Incredibly dope. Foreign Exchange, also incredibly dope. That's Fonte of Little Brother, and he's working with the Swedish producer Nicolette. One of the dopest singles I've heard all year. But anyway, back to business. So Lulu, you actually went back to Switzerland this year after going before. Like, when did you go before this year?
I went in 2006.
So what was it like going this year?
Well, I was in a completely different region, so I didn't really know what to expect at all. But it was a wonderful, humbling experience. Back in 2006 when I went out there, I was just going out there. My sole purpose was to learn. I went to all these workshops and met so many great people. And this time around, I was invited to actually perform at a jazz festival out there. And that right there just made me jump through the roof, because to think that someone loves my music, loves my voice, and they want me to perform out there. I just thought that was a very humbling experience, and it was beautiful. We were kind of like in the it's called the Emmental region. If anyone out there eats Swiss cheese, that's like where they make Swiss cheese. That's the only thing I could think of. And it was like a tiny little village with a whole bunch of hills, and like the countryside was absolutely amazing. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. It was good.
Okay. Now you also have one album out now, and you're working on another album. So just talk about your first album and transition into how your second album it has changed compared to the first. Okay.
My first album, I started recording it in 2006, and because I was in school then, it was my group is back at home in DC. It was kind of hard for me to go back home all the time and try to finish recording everything in a year. But I started recording in 2006. I was done in 2008, and it's called Lulu's Back in Town. It's 10 songs, and I'm just covering jazz standards and, of course, adding my own little twist and taste to it. And I actually had my CD release party in April of this year. Actually, it was April 17th in Washington, D.C. It was a great turnout. A lot of people came out, sold a lot of CDs, and anybody out there that likes jazz, I'm actually selling my CD on cdbaby.com. You can just type in the little search engine Lulu Falls, and my little CD should pop up. And that was actually one of my greatest accomplishments that I've done ever, because I'm not signed to a label yet, but so it was completely independent. I learned as I went along the way, hit a few bumps in the road, but it's all good. And this next album, it's kind of a work in progress. It's actually not jazz at all. It's the complete opposite. It's just soul, alternative, a lot of acoustic in voice, a lot of piano in voice. I'm actually composing a few of the songs myself, so it's just a mixture of genres, and I'm excited to even hear what it's going to be like. I think I'm going to start recording in September, or actually later this month, but I've just been writing a lot. So I'm excited about that because it's something different, very, very different than what I'm used to.
Yeah, and that was actually my next question. I mean, you know, I think that a lot of people just sort of assume that every genre is really similar, but jazz and R&B, while they have similarities, they can be really different. So what is that? I mean, what has it been like for you to actually get into the R&B mindset, if you will, while jazz hasn't been your forte up until now?
Right. Of course, yeah, jazz has definitely been my forte, but I believe, almost all forms of music generate from jazz. There's rock, you know, like if you listen, you know, all the chords are similar. All the chords are the same. They all generate from jazz. And so R&B and, you know, soul and alternative, a lot of people think that that may be two completely different genres, but there are so many similarities out there. And also, like, the music just allows you to be you. It allows you to put your emotions out there, just like jazz does. You can improvise just like you can in jazz music. And I guess my biggest reason for wanting to finally make an album that is not jazz only is because a lot of people think that I've limited myself to only one type of music, one genre of music. And as a vocalist, as a musician, as an artist, generally, you don't want to limit yourself at all. So I'm just keeping my eyes open and just moving forward and just taking everything in, staying open-minded, and just seeing what happens with the music. And that's the beauty of music.
Cultural Vibe, 88.9. We have hip-hop. We have rap. We have R&B. We have jazz. We're the best radio show in the area.
Yep.
And in the world.
Yep.
Stay tuned for more with Lulu Falls. And coming up, we have new music from Michael Jackson and Odyssey. Y'all are going to go crazy about this if you haven't already. We got music from Mayday. We've got an old school joint from R. Kelly. We've got a new joint from Anthony Hamilton. Keep it locked. 88.9 Cultural Vibe.